Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for all that you do behind the scenes to put this on, all the work, the organization. It runs like a top. It really does. Anyway, thank you for letting me share my life with you this morning. I was totally honored and blown away when Pastor Susan asked me to speak this morning, and I immediately said yes. And that was about a month ago. And since then, I've been struggling with what can I possibly say that would interest you all. I'm not a student of theology, and I'm not an old sage, but I am old. In 8 days, I'll be starting my 9th decade on this planet. Now, I don't really consider that very old because my mother lived to 101 and a half. My grandmother was 98. My grandfather and my father were both 95 on my mother's side. And even though I drank and smoked, I intend to live to 103. Just so I can outlive my mother. So my talk today is, how can I get the most out of life as I age? My mother was a remarkable woman. She lived alone at Heather Gardens in Aurora up until her death on December 7th, 2011. She was still driving a car, played bridge, cooked her own meals, and had her own teeth. She was loved by a multitude of people and enjoyed life up until the very last day when she said, "I don't want to live another day," and she didn't. She was very kind and loving to most everyone around her, and she gave me a template for how to live my life and how to die. One thing I remember her always saying is, "Use it or lose it, Marylin." Yes, I'd like to live to 103, but only if I'm mentally fit and pain-free. Since I have good genes, what's the likelihood I will? Well, in this book, the Joy Span, The Art and Science of Thriving and Life's Second Half, I quote, "Genes are responsible for around 25% of the variation in lifespan, and the remaining 75% is the result of our beliefs, attitudes, choices, and behaviors. The key to life expectancy and healthy aging is to engage fully in life, mentally, physically, socially, and emotionally." Anyway, Mother and I had a very good relationship the last 15 to 20 years of her life, but it didn't start out so well. I was a difficult child to raise. They say the most challenging children are have the most potential, right? Anyway, I was totally unlike my mother.
I'm coming up to move your water bottle so we see you and not your water bottle.
Okay, all right, I don't have to have that there. I was a difficult child to raise, unlike my mother. She was very shy growing up, and I was a total extrovert. She was Miss Goody Two-Shoes, and I was always pushing the envelope. She did everything her parents wanted her to, and I didn't. For example, when I was 16, my mother told me I could no longer date Jim, my boyfriend of about a year. I didn't like that, so I immediately bed him. And in March of '62, I got pregnant. Back then, there weren't many options for an unwed mother. I could give the child up for adoption, or I could go to the girls' home in Helena, Montana until I was 18. I was never given the option of just keeping the baby. I was shipped off to Cheyenne, Wyoming to live with my sister, brother-in-law, and 2 nieces as soon as my pregnancy was discovered. There, I was the built-in babysitter, housekeeper, and cook. It wasn't a very pleasant time, but eventually I delivered. On December 5th, 1962, I gave birth to a baby, but I never knew if it was a boy or girl because I wasn't even permitted to hold my child. What ensued was months of postpartum depression. I know what depression is. And once again, I was shipped off to live with my aunt in Tacoma, Washington. Really, not much sun in Tacoma, Washington, January to June. And there I met my first husband and my daughter's father. In the summertime, I was allowed to return to my grandmother's home in Bozeman, Montana, and get ready for college. In college, I felt like I wasn't good enough to join a sorority house because I was a Scarlet woman. I just knew that everybody in that college had heard that I was an unwed mother, and so it only seemed fitting to be just as wild as I possibly could. After 3 years of college, Ken and I were married in 1966 in Lincoln, Nebraska, his home state. And after 8 years of marriage, I decided I wanted to have a child. He didn't. I was blessed with my beautiful daughter, Chris, in 1974. And her father and I divorced not long after her birth. When she was 5, I found a suitable stepfather for my daughter and married Mario. He was a good father and a good man. But then I started working at J.J. Lay, and there was this fascinating black man working there. After breaking Mario's heart, I was finally with my true love and soulmate, Austin. He's still the love of my life, and I thank God every day that he came into my life. We finally got married in 1993, but there was trouble in paradise. You see, I had been drinking as much as I could for as long as I could, and it was beginning to catch up with me. The love of my life was no longer enamored with me. Whenever I drank too much, he said I would get stupid. I guess I'd get loud and sloppy. Now, that wasn't going to get it for my man. He couldn't have a wife who acted like that when she drank. He never said he wanted me to stop drinking. He just wanted me to drink like a lady, like my mother. In 1994, after we celebrated our first year anniversary, I found AA. Or I should say AA found me, because it was by divine intervention that I ever stepped into the rooms. I had a preconceived idea of who went to AA, and I knew that I wasn't that bad. I rationalized that I wasn't that kind of an alcoholic. I still had a job, my car, my house, my husband, my health. Although it had been suggested by several that I was alcoholic, I believed that I was just a heavy drinker, even though I'd received 2 DUIs and a BUI. That's boating under the influence. AA wasn't at all like I thought it would be. People just like me were living happy, joyous, and free lives without alcohol, and I decided to try it. For the first time in my life, I decided to follow instructions and do what they said. I got a sponsor, I worked the steps, I attended meetings every day, and within the first 3 months, I found I was on a pink cloud, and that pink cloud lasted a very, very long time, perhaps until 2016. In AA, I learned the 10th step, which says, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God. I started a meditation practice, which I have continued to this day. The prayer part didn't come until more recently. My life has definitely improved since 1962 when I got pregnant. And even though I never finished college, divorced 2 times, and became an alcoholic, today I'm quite happy with my life. I do not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. Today, my past is just a part of my story, which may help others going through similar situations. There were some other events along the way that had life-changing effects. I read the Water book about 1997. Water for health, for healing, for life. And it had a profound effect on my body and mind. I discovered I had probably been severely dehydrated for the majority of my life. And dehydration can cause so many problems. 2 of mine might have been depression and being in pain. When I started drinking water like my life depended on it, it improved about as much as giving up alcohol. Then I discovered Reiki in the early 2000s. I studied, and after a couple of years, I became a Reiki master teacher. I started treating people immediately, giving Reiki, and helping them to feel better. I was soon prompted to include a full body massage. This has been a very satisfying endeavor for me because when I give Reiki, I receive Reiki. So I received a healing every time I worked on someone else. And in the past 20 years, I have given thousands of Reiki massages and grown closer to my higher power. Before I got sober, I fought change with all my will. After I embraced sobriety, I realized change is my friend, that only through change do we grow. Like a supple tree that bends in a storm, I found if I was willing to bend and adapt, I wouldn't break. In her book, Joy Span, Dr. Carrie Burnite lists 7 ways on how to cultivate joy to improve your lifespan. Gratitude practice. Regularly reflecting on things you are thankful for enhances emotional well-being. Exercise and play. Physical activity releases endorphins, improving mood and increasing joy. Social connection. Nurture friendships and family relationships to build emotional resilience. Mindfulness and meditation. These practices reduce stress and increase present moment joy. Meaningful work and hobbies. Engage in activities that bring purpose and fulfillment. Acts of kindness. Helping others generates a lasting sense of joy and connection. Laughter. Spend time with people or engage in activities that make you laugh. Laughter has immeasurable health benefits. I have cards with 7 items on them. If you would like to have one, I'll put them on the podium at the back of the church and you can pick one up on the way out. So how do I do these 7 things? Practice gratitude. Every time I pray or meditate, I am counting my blessings. Sometimes when I'm trying to fall asleep, I count my blessings. For some reason, the first thing I'm grateful for is being able to stretch out in a warm, comfortable bed, knowing that I am safe and protected, and I have the love of my life lying next to me. To quote Marcia Stanfield, I am safe, I am warm, and I am cradled in comfort. Oh, it just sounds yummy. Exercise and play. My beautiful daughter and I go to the Buck Recreation Center and walk in 95-degree water for an hour, 3 to 5 times a week. It's great to have someone one-on-one time with my daughter where we can talk uninterrupted and really connect. I had hip replacement surgery December 30th, and I'm getting stronger because of the water walking. Social connection. I play bridge 3 or more times a week, attend church and usher, attend Wisdom Keepers, host Reiki Share, organize hot spring trips, drumming journeys, and spa days. And I'm planning on a prayer and meditation party sometime in November. Mindfulness meditation. I regularly meet with a dear friend every week for meditation in person, and I'm starting to meet people on Zoom for meditation. Whenever I wake in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep, I spend 30 minutes to an hour meditating. Then I can fall to sleep easily and sleep well through the rest of the night. Acts of kindness. I have several women I have taken under my wing who are challenged in terms of emotional, financial, or physical abilities. I take them shopping, cook for them, visit them, and so forth. Meaningful work and hobbies. My primary love is giving Reiki massages, which are 2-hour treatments, where I give about 45 minutes of Reiki and an hour and 15 minutes of massage to my clients. I also teach Reiki. Around this time of the year, I also make turtles and sell them. And I also make and sell goddess wraps. I'll be showing my complete inventory at the Metaphysical Fair this next weekend here at the First Spiritual Science Church. All of these endeavors are things that I love and make me a little extra money here and there. Laughter. I'm falling short in this category. My wonderful husband is constantly trying to make me laugh, but things don't tickle my funny bone as they do others. This is one area that I'm going to try to improve. Perhaps I'll try laughter yoga. In AA, when someone sometimes hear the term stinkin' thinkin', to me, this is the thoughts that keep me awake at night for hours. Stinkin' thinkin' is focusing on fear, hate, pain. Maybe it's something that I'm afraid I'll have taken away from me, like my freedom or financial security. Maybe it's something that is due me that I'm not going to receive, but it generally involves another person or persons. And I know I have no control over them. These problems are above my pay grade. I'm just not powerful enough to change other people. So in these cases, I have to stop and turn the problem over to God. The third step prayer states, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. Thursday night, I attended Marcia Stanfield in the chorus. And Boney Mary, one of her guides, was talking about our problems and what we can do about them. She suggested we have a 5-column paper where we could head them up with the following. Bitch about it. Do something about it. Look into it. Accept it. It is what it is until there is no more emotional charge. And hand it over. When she said hand it over, I realized I haven't been living that third step of AA for a very long time. I quit attending meetings about 19 years ago. There are a couple of things that eat my lunch, particularly around 12:30 a.m. I have bitched about them. There's really nothing I can do about them. I've looked into them. I've really tried to accept them. The one thing I hadn't done until Thursday night was to turn them over to God. The funny thing is, back in July, Pastor Susan said at First Thursday, if it's out of your control, let go of it and let God. How many times do I have to hear the same message before actually listening? That same night she said, you cannot change other people. Let go of stubbornness. Smart lady. I don't need to do any more mental masturbation on these topics. It's getting me nowhere. It's robbing me of my joy, serenity, and happiness, and sleep. So it's time to turn them over to God. In AA, when I'd sponsor other women, I'd often give them a God box, a little container with a lid that they could put notes in of things that they'd turned over to God. I could do that too. Bonnie Mary suggested that on our to-do list that we have a column for God's to-do list. What a concept. Since I've decided to turn these problems over to God, I have been sleeping much better and have a more optimistic point of view. It's like my joy has returned. My life isn't exactly perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it is so much better than it was. I keep reminding myself I'm a work in progress, and Rome wasn't built in a day. I try to forgive myself, and I try to love myself. Some problems have been eliminated, such as I don't have a fear of an unwanted pregnancy. I don't have a nicotine addiction. Alcohol is no longer an issue. Fear of economic insecurity is no longer a problem, but I still struggle with eating, craving sugar and wheat. And I still have some stinking thinking. However, each day I ask God to guide me in doing the next right thing, to help me change what I can, accept what I cannot, and live my life in gratitude for this wonderful, wonderful time that I have on planet Earth. I am so blessed. I believe the more we focus on our blessings, the more the universe tries to give us more to be grateful for. I firmly believe in listening to that still, small voice. And I believe my guardian angel is yelling these instructions to me. I pray for more intuitive thoughts and that knowing that I have made the best choice possible. And when I haven't, I forgive myself for not being perfect. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. I had a son. On December 5th, 1962. He found me 39 years later, shortly after 9/11 happened. His name is David Long. And he has given me 3 grandchildren and now a great-granddaughter. David and Carla, his wife, will be here in a couple of weeks to help me celebrate my 80th birthday. OMG, am I glad to have such a wonderful person in my life. I am so blessed. I'd like to close with the 3rd step prayer. God, I offer myself to Thee, to build with me and to do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. May I do Thy will always. Are there any questions? Thank you so much for letting me speak and you're very kind. I know this is borrowing without paying for it, but these 7 ways to cultivate joy, I think are really important, and I thought maybe some of you would like to have them, so I'll leave them out there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.